Welcome to today's episode, and we are going to talk about diet and nutrition, basically understanding some of the basics of diet and nutrition. And this episode is for those people who did not join our workshop today, which was held between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. So basically what we are going to begin with is understanding the differences between diet and nutrition, because most of the time they are used interchangeably, and people think they're the same thing, but then they are not. So when we talk about diet, a diet is the total food consumed. So if maybe you have consumed certain number of meals in a day, then that's what we call diet. And nutrition, this is the process of obtaining nutrients from those foods that you eat for your health, basically. So nutrition is the process of extracting or obtaining nutrients, while diet is the amount of food that you consume. And the importance of having a diet or having food is basically for health, good health, overall well-being, and also getting energy to be able to do your daily activities. So the energy of human life, basically, it's kind of converted in a process that we call metabolism. So metabolism is the chemical process or reaction that converts food to energy. And energy is basically heat. So another factor or thing that we are going to talk about is balanced diet. And I do think from early on you have been able to learn a lot, especially when you are in school from maybe class 5 or 6, about balanced diet. And there's a reason why we usually talk about balanced diet. And there are two things involved when it comes to a balanced diet, whereby we're talking about macronutrients. Those are the big ones. That's the food that we eat in big volumes or big amounts. And the macronutrients, basically, they include carbohydrates, proteins, and the fats. And then we also have micronutrients. Micronutrients are vitamins and minerals. And these are the kinds of nutrients that help us, let's say, operate or rather function on a cellular level. And in also when we're talking about that balanced diet, we also have to talk about energy balance. And this is basically the calories in and calories out, trying to balance that for good health, so that the amount of calories that you consume should be also, let's say, be commensurate with the calories that you expend within that day, so that you can be able to maintain a good health. Because if the calories that you consume are way higher than the calories that you expend or spend during the day, then that's where people get to add weight and become fat. So beginning with the macronutrients, which we have said are carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, we're going to begin with the carbohydrates. And when we talk about carbohydrates, we have simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates. And the differences between the two is in terms of digestion, and also maybe what they provide in terms of nutrition to our bodies. So simple carbs usually get digested quickly, and therefore they are able to raise the blood sugar very quickly. And in results also, they'll raise the insulin levels quite quickly. So when insulin levels are quite high, consistently over time, because you are consuming a lot of simple carbohydrates consistently over time, then that is going to lead to insulin resistance, what we usually call prediabetes. And if this goes on for a longer period of time, then you are likely to go into diabetes type 2. So that's why we advise, when you are consuming your carbohydrates, it is good that you are able to focus on consuming complex carbohydrates. And the reason being that complex carbohydrates are digested way slowly, therefore they do not raise your insulin sugars, and also they are able to provide a consistent energy for a longer period of time. So let's say you're not eating that, or you're not feeling hungry that often. Yeah, so the examples maybe of carbohydrates, they include bread. I'm saying them in no particular manner because I'm just giving examples, but then I'm not saying these are the healthy options. No, I'm just mentioning them. Yeah, sorry. So we have cereals, we have corn, we have fruits. So fruits, they fall under the category of carbohydrates, but also they can fall under the category of micronutrients. But there are also carbohydrates, things like pasta, potatoes, rice, and even vegetables. Yeah, some vegetables. Yeah. And then we have proteins. The work of carbohydrates, the work of carbohydrates to provide the body with energy, basically. Yeah. So whatever you do, that's why maybe when you are low in energy, the first thing you are going to reach for is a carbohydrate, something that has sugar. So everything that has sugar is a carbohydrate, and everything that is a carbohydrate, when it's digested, we're going to count it as sugar. So if you're going to do your bread, your chapati, your fruit, or let's say whatever is a carbohydrate is going to be a sugar. So when we say your total amount of sugars should be low, so we are meaning anything that is a carbohydrate. So that's a sugar. We are not necessarily talking about table sugar only. Yeah. Okay. We also, in terms of carbs, we also have this confusion. We also have under that, it's beans, lentils, peas, quinoa, and even yogurt. They also fall under the category of carbohydrates. Of course, they have some, let's say, content of proteins, a little bit of it, but then the majority of the content kind of lies in the carbohydrates. So those people who confuse beans, lentils as carbohydrates, that's plant-based, they are not correct, because the amount of protein is not significant in them, but then there are way better options in terms of carbohydrates as compared to processed carbohydrates or sugars. Yeah, so simple sugars most of the time are processed sugars, and we should be able to avoid those. Yeah. So then we have proteins. So as I've said, beans and lentils are not good sources of protein if you are looking to achieve, let's say, maximum. You want maximum gains from proteins. So the best sources of proteins include chicken, then we have egg whites, we have fish, that's seafood, we have lean beef and pork, we have soy, turkey, low-fat milk, low-fat Greek yogurt. And the work of protein basically is for growth, muscle growth, and also muscle repair. Yeah? So, but also eggs so we have said egg whites, but also because eggs also have fat, so the yolk has more nutrients. But then if you want pure protein, then the egg whites have the best protein. So when it comes, there are those foods which have protein and also they have fat. And then we have eggs, that's a whole egg. We have cheese, fatty or oil fish. We have also nuts and seeds, full fat yogurt, and even whole milk. So milk is not only a protein, but it's a protein and a fat. Yeah. And then when it comes to fats, number one, what it ranks number one is avocado. Number two, you have butter. Number three, we have canola oil. We have coconut oil, flax seeds, olives, and olive oil. Yeah, so those are fats. So we We have when we talk about fats, it's good to at least I've listed the list of healthy fats, because there are also saturated fats which are not good for your body, and those are the ones that you should be able to avoid. So in the list that I've given, those are the healthiest forms of fats that you should be able to consume: avocado, butter, canola oil, coconut oil, olives, olive oil. Those are your fats. Of course, we have eggs, we have fatty fish, full fat, yogurt, and whole milk. That's also other options of fats. But then outside that, then you are going to the unhealthy fats. Yeah. So I didn't talk much about complex carbohydrates. Examples maybe these include things like cassava, sweet potatoes, your matokes, your corn, ile imesiagwa na ile ya kisiagi, not the sifted. The sifted one is simple. So those are some of the examples. So when you are beginning to sit down and maybe make a meal plan for yourself, then you have to be able to include complex carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Yeah, so you should be able to have a good combination of that in your meal plan. And now when we talk about micronutrients, so micro are the small, we need them in smaller amounts on a daily basis. You can survive without macronutrients, that you can survive without having to take your carbs or your protein or your fats, but then you can't function optimally without your vitamins and minerals and electrolytes, because those are the things that help us, let's say, function on a cellular, let's say, level. Yeah? Because things like vision, things like even writing, even moving, those functions require you to have certain micronutrients in your body. So we have water soluble vitamins, that's B and C. They are only water soluble, and then we have fat soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. So when it comes to minerals, we have calcium, that's good for your bones. We have zinc, iron, magnesium. They also have different functions in the body. And then we have electrolytes, which are sodium, potassium, and potassium, which are also key when it comes to functioning of your body and also overall health in general. I want to be able to go in deep today because that was not our aim today, but then I'm just saying. So we obtain micronutrients basically from our vegetables and also fruits. So fruits and vegetables are going to give you your micronutrients. So sometimes we don't know when you are consuming them, but then when you eat your food, you are going to get these micronutrients. When you take your salt, you are going to get your sodium for your electrolytes and so on. Yeah. So micronutrients come from veggies most of the time. Of course, other foods that are going to give you also the zinc, the minerals, also not only the veggies, but also the other foods you're going to get the micronutrient as well. But then, so now between the two fruits and fruits and veggies, we don't recommend, especially if you're struggling with a lot of weight, then fruits are not your best choice, because you can get the micronutrients that you get from your fruits, you can get them from veggies. So you can best choose to have your veggies other than having your fruits, because they are most of the time have high sugar levels, and that is going to generally affect your weight in one way or another, especially if you are struggling with weight. So, and sugar, as you know, is the biggest contributing factor to weight gain. Things like obesity, fatty liver, because fruits have the sugar that we call fructose, and it's synthesized or rather processed in the liver. And when you take fruits consistently because of the fructose, then you might be able to have excess sugar, of course, I don't know, yeah. It leads to fatty liver. In terms of hydration is basically drinking your water. Hydration can also be through your fruits. And foods that are good, it's cucumber and watermelon. And the importance of hydration or water is detoxification. That's the first process whereby you are able to get rid of toxins from your body through sweat and also through urination. We also have metabolism, that is digestion and all. And also we have temperature regulation. So metabolism also, it increases your blood volume and many other functions, yeah. So when it comes to consumption of water or drinking water, it's recommended to have 8 to 10 glasses, but then also you have to feel how your body is feeling. You have to listen to your body, because there are days you don't need that much water because how the weather is. It's also what we call, if you overhydrate, then you're also going to lose a lot of electrolytes. And you can know this especially when you are going to the toilet for a short call often, and your urine or pee is quite clear. If it's really clear, then you are most probably overhydrating. And if you can also know when you are underhydrating, whereby your pee is yellowish, yeah, it's really yellowish. And also you feel maybe your lips are dry, you are not feeling okay, you're constipating, yeah. So such issues also would dictate or denote that you're not having enough water yeah, into your body. So maybe I can be able to go back a little bit and talk. I think, I don't know if I talked about types of fats. We have saturated, unsaturated, and trans fats. And also healthy fats are good in terms of brain function and hormone production. And I think I've talked about that, yeah. So we are talking about hydration, yeah. Anyway, I think I finished about that. So now we are going to talk about nutrition for different life stages, whereby we have infants. So because as we grow older, our needs are different, and the way we eat also is going to change, especially if, for instance, infants are looking for proper nutrition for growth and development. And most of the time, for them, key nutrients might, let's say, be calcium, iron, and even essential fats to be able to enable them grow and develop things like strength of the bones and so on, and muscle, and even height, yeah. And also, since they need a lot of energy, they are going to consume a lot of, let's say, energy-giving foods. And when it comes to adolescents, and also because now they are going through a lot of, let's say, physical and even hormonal changes, and then also they have to kind of change their eatings to have healthy eating habits, because that also is going to affect their moods, because they are at a dangerous age whereby hormones are really playing around with them, yeah. So when it comes to adults, it's basically trying to maintain energy balance. So we are going to focus more on heart health, bone health, and disease prevention. So because now as we grow older, we begin losing some of the things, especially we are more prone to diseases. So our immunity is low, our strength is low, And elderly, when we become elderly, we begin losing even appetite. We have also decreased absorption of the food, and also things like our bones begin slowing or rather getting weak. And also we focus on having maybe a lot of calcium, vitamin D, and even B12. Yeah, so those are things that as we age, we change the way we eat. But then generally, the thing is to be able to have a balanced diet. Always balanced diet works because your body is able to get the necessary nutrients that it needs for it to work well. Now we can be able to talk about supplements. In this case, we are going to talk about dietary supplements because there are also other kinds of different supplements and those used for other functions. So there are supplements that, let's say, for someone who goes to the gym, you are going to come across people suggesting that you use creatine, use whey protein, use amino acids, use C4. There are so many, hundreds and hundreds of supplements. So we have we have even vitamins, we have minerals, protein powders. So we usually use these supplements, especially when we have a deficiency or we want to enhance athletic performance, or even pregnancy when we want to supplement a certain, let's say something that we are at a certain deficiency, let's say so. Yeah. So as the name suggests, it's just as you are supplementing what you already have or what you are already taking, and maybe it's not enough, but you're not replacing. So there can also be what we call overuse or misuse, whereby we are doing over supplementation. And we have, of course, we can have things like vitamin toxicity, whereby we take a lot of vitamins and it becomes toxic to the body. So if you can be able to, if you don't have any issues with your health, you don't need to supplement, because you can be able to, unless your doctor has suggested that you need to supplement, then you don't need to supplement if you are getting enough supplements from your food. So you should be able to eat healthy enough for you to get enough, let's say, nutrients, because most people who supplement is because the body cannot get enough from what you are eating. Yeah. So it's good to, before maybe you use a certain supplements, especially those that you are not aware of, you don't have good knowledge on, it's always good to seek assistance from a healthcare professional before you do that. Yeah. And I will talk maybe about creatine. There's someone who asked about, because we have creatine, we have protein powders and even vitamins. And so when should you be able to, so the work of creatine, basically creatine has been the most researched supplement, yeah. And it's widely used among athletes and fitness enthusiasts. I've used it once maybe, but then I didn't, because it's not water soluble as much. I didn't like it. So, but then here are some of the functions of creatine. Number one, it enhances muscle growth, whereby it helps stimulate muscle protein synthesis, and this can lead to increased muscle mass over time, especially when combined with strength training. So, and that's one. Of course, it improves exercise performance because it can be used as a pre-workout, because it increases the body's stores of phosphocreatine, which is used to produce ATP, which is basically the primary energy currents of cells. and therefore it's able to improve our performance, especially in high intensity exercises. Yeah. And number 3, also it improves, or rather aids in faster recovery, because it can reduce muscle cell damage and inflammation after an intense workout. And then it supports brain health. And research has suggested creatine benefits the brain function by increasing phosphocreatine stores in the brain. It has potential cognitive benefits. That is, it improves memory and mental performance, particularly in individuals who are stressed or sleep deprived. Of course, it also boosts strength and power, and that's performance, and it may help even with the neurological conditions. And then it improves hydration and cellular volume because it promotes water retention. Yeah. So after how long should you be able to take it? Because one person asked when they can begin using creatine. It is not a must that you use creatine, but then if you should be able to use, I usually suggest that before you begin using any supplements, ensure that you maybe perfect the working out part. You should be able to begin working out fast, eating properly from your food, having that kind of discipline, building on that first, so that you can be able to, because you can't struggle with multiple things at the same time. And these supplements, most of the time, they're going to work when you have discipline in working out. Yeah. And also it's good to maybe push your body fast and see where it can be able to get you. And maybe if you need more results after that, then you can be able to to begin using supplements. But then for a normal person, for your day-to-day activities, working out alone and eating properly at home, especially adhering to the proper meals alone, that is enough. You should be able to get a good workout, a good physique from that. Unless you want, let's say, outstanding changes, then you should be able to supplement, because now you want extra. Supplements are going to do the extra work, but then you have to do the basics first of all. Yeah? So if you need, there's no any guaranteed time for you to begin using them, but then allow your body first of all to go through the natural process of doing things, and then once you are comfortable with working out and eating your proper meals, healthy proper meals, then you can be able to supplement if that is not enough. Yeah. So I think that is that for today that I wanted to talk about. I didn't get any questions apart from that. And let me see if there's another one that I didn't answer. I'm recording this separately because our Zoom did not capture the video as I thought it would. So is there there's a question: is there an underlying reason why someone gets gas and stomach discomfort after taking legumes, that's beans and lentils? Yeah, some people tend to have reactions to certain foods. That is because they kind of cause bloating, and also they are high in acid. Yeah, so if you tend to get discomfort or some gas or something, it's because those are, let's say, they are acidic foods as much as they are healthy options. They also have some aspects of acidity, so that's why they cause bloating and gas and this stomach discomfort for people. who have issues such as hyperacidity, maybe ulcers and so on. So for you, in such a case, if a certain food is working against you, the best you can be able to do is find a replacement. Just avoid it. Basically, you don't have to eat it, because if it's bringing you problems, then avoid it. For instance, for me, I don't do beans because we are not friends. You're not friends. So that's the underlying reason that you have another issue, maybe in your gut, and it's when you eat certain foods, those foods make the situation worse. Yeah. For someone seeking to build muscles, what are the ratios of nutrients to consume? So now it depends with your goal, especially if maybe you want to lose weight fast, or you want to see, because there is what we call macros calculator, and that calculator helps you to, you can go online, yeah, and just Google for macros calculator, and you are going to fill in information about yourself, your height, your weight, your goals, and all that, and it's going to suggest maybe the ratios that you should be able to consume to get to your goals. That's how you are able to kind of calculate in terms of how many grams of carbs, how many calories, or grams of protein or fats you should be able to consume in a day for you to be able to achieve the goals that you are seeking. Yeah. But then what works most of the time, especially for someone who is looking to build muscle, you are going to kind of ensure, what we ensure most is getting our protein intake right, and that is usually calculated as 1.7 to 1.8 grams times your kgs, yeah, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, let me check. Late. Usually it's 0.8 grams per kilogram of your body. Yeah, so there are people who can do 0.8 to 1.2 grams. So you multiply, let's say 1 gram, per kilogram of your body weight. So that's basically what you should be able to eat. So for a person who is maybe 70 kgs, maybe for you should be able to do, let's say 70 grams of protein every day. So for someone who's extremely active, let's say an athlete, then they can go from 1.2 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of your body weight. So you are multiplying 1.2 or 2.2 grams by your body weight. So you should be able to have. So what you usually know is, maybe if you are having 2 eggs, those are maybe, let's say 16 or 25 grams of protein. So you should be able to know each food that you consume, how many grams of protein that it has. Maybe if, let's say, it's a 1/4 kg of lean beef, it should be able to have, let's say, a specific amount of grams of protein. So basically that's how you are able to calculate the amount of food or protein that you should take in a day. And for someone who's going to lose weight, and your goal is to let's say weight loss and muscle gain, and then you have to aim higher, you have to eat more protein, and that's from 1.6 to 2.2 grams of protein per body kilogram. Yeah, so that's how basically you calculate that. I don't know what else. At what stage in fitness journey should you introduce supplements? Once you are comfortable enough with working out, basically. Yeah. Is creatine and protein way good for a first-timer gym goer? Yes, they are, if you can afford them. But because these are things that you use often, not like they don't work on a one-time basis. You have to use for a longer period of time for you to be able to see the results that you want. So you have to put a certain budget aside for you to be able to see significant results. Otherwise, ukitumia 1 month peke yake, you might not be able to see significant results. You have to be able to use it for a longer time or a longer period of time. How do I deal with sugar and wheat cravings? You have to be able to conditioning your body to operate on other things, on other foods. And you don't, let's say, drop everything at once. What you usually do is maybe if you are having, let's say, if you are eating 4 slices of bread in the morning, then you have to introduce something. You just can't leave something and fail to introduce something else. Maybe if you are eating 4 slices of bread in the morning with tea, then what you do is you introduce something and then maybe get rid of one piece of, or one piece of slice of bread, sorry. Yeah. So, and then maybe introduce an egg. Introduce another egg, do away with two slices. Introduce maybe a boiled banana and do away with, because the body operates on routines. So what you feed it is going to kind of learn or adapt to that kind of strategy. So if you begin introducing it to a new strategy slowly or gradually, then it's going to learn to operate on that. And then once you learn the discipline of kind of maintaining a good meals, then it's easy for you maybe once in a while to go and have your sugar or your weight, because you can be able to control it. So it's a slow process that you have to be kind of patient with it, but then you have to have a plan. Yeah. So you have to introduce one. When you're getting something, you are replacing with another, because it's usually an addiction. So when you are dealing with an addiction, you always have to kind of replace it with another positive addiction. That's how addiction works. No one really beats addiction. What they usually do is they find another addiction which is positive, that's healthy. That is what we are saying. So the same way to deal with sugar and wheat craving, and also especially if you are married, you have to also have a conversation with your partner, because now most of the time what is bringing you down or making you slacken on your goals is also the person who, because you can have someone who is enabling those things. So if you have someone who is enabling those things, you also have to have an honest conversation with them and tell them, this is what I'm dealing with and I would like to kind of have a plan, have a goal to do with this. So they also have to get on board, especially if they're the ones who control the food that you eat, because whoever controls the kitchen is going to determine how healthy or unhealthy you will be. And also finally, it's good to always have a meal plan, because we say he who doesn't have a plan will always fall for anything. Meaning, if you don't have anything that you have planned out to eat, then you are going to eat what is available. And most of the situation, that's what happens. So people go for what is available, and most of the time what's available is simple sugars. So, but then when you have a plan, then you can be able to have healthy options. That's what we talked about today. And maybe if you have any more questions, I'd like to attend to them next time, because this was simply an introduction. I wanted for you to understand basically the broad concept of diet and nutrition. Of course, there's a lot under this topic, and I would love maybe next time to take you through on how to prepare a meal plan. Basically, I'll give you a guide on how to prepare a meal plan so that by the end of that workshop or seminar, you can be able to make your own meal plan, because I think that's one of the most important things that you can be able to learn from me, because it's one way that I can be able to help you with. So if you have any questions, I'm going to organize another session soon. Let me know and I'll get back to you. Cheers. See you next time.